What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. We got a ton of games on this upcoming set on the NBA. I've got 11 bets that I've already put down, and I'm going to share those with you. But before we do, let's recap the last video. Let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
So I shared 5 bets with you guys on the last video. We did go 4-1 on those bets that I shared. So a pretty decent day. We made it out alive. We made some profit. VIP, 1.86 units profit. It was an unbelievable day. All the value plays, which I'm becoming famous for, didn't cash many of those, but we got hooked on 4 of them, which is absolutely wild. Could have been a massive day, but at least we got in the green. Let's talk about it. I went 4-2 overall on my straight bets. I shared Anthony Davis with you guys in the last video. I'm going to call it was a bad bet. This whole Lakers team sucks. Anthony Davis is a coward. Can't believe I fell for that trap again. But I also bet on Scam Adebayo. Took his over in points. Now, he attempted 18 shots in that game. That's more than what I thought. He played like trash. He finished with 15 points. Not a bad bet. He just played poorly against Boston today. Outside of that, a whole lot of winners. Josh Giddey took his over in assists. Man got a triple-double. That was easy money. Rudy Gobert over points and rebounds. 17 points, 12 boards. Destroyed the Lakers again. Jalen Johnson took his over 23.5 points and assists. That was sweaty as hell, but we got there in the end. And we took DeJounte Murray over his rebounds and assists, and that was pretty easy. Also hit a parlay at plus 1,026. 10-1, baby. Let's go. Here's the parlay. This is what it looked like. This is what y'all missed out on. Pretty much cash. Josh Giddey, Jalen Johnson, DeJounte Murray, Rudy Gobert. $25 into $273. Now, I didn't purposely take Anthony Davis out of that. When I placed the bet on Anthony Davis, it just happened to be on a different sports book. So got a little bit lucky there, but if you're interested in joining VIP, I run all the straight bets, I do a lot of value plays, parlays. I got a staking method which allows you to get risky with it and still come out profitable. If you're interested, use the code Rudy and get 40% off. That's limited only to the first 20 redemptions. Check out the link in the video description below if you want to check it out. Before we get into the picks, I ask that you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're about to hit 16,000. Heck, by the time you're watching this, we're probably at 16,000 already. So I thank you all. 17,000 is the next stop. Help your boy get there. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Any comment that you leave pushes this out to more people, and I appreciate everybody who does that. Now, let's get into these bets, shall we? We're jumping in the props madness. It is the best tool for NBA player props. Don't waste your time on anything else. All your favorite cappers are using this. I know it, you know it, they know it. Check it out. 7-day free trial in the video description below. Plus, you'll get a 7-day trial. You'll get a 25% discount if you use the code DAFT. I'm not editing that out. Let's just roll with it. Now, we've got a ton of games on today. I don't have a bet on every single game. So if I happen to miss a player that you probably wanted to hear about, I apologize, but there's probably a good reason for it, whether it be matchup or lineups yet to be confirmed. In the first game, Washington Wizards versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, it is a set of cup games today, but not every single game matters. In this Cavs game, probably doesn't matter too much in terms of the cup, but I do have one bet in this game, and I'm taking Jared Allen here. I like his over 13.5 points in this one. He's hit this in 12 out of his last 20 games, averaging 14 points per game. I'm taking Jared Allen here purely because of this matchup. He's got the best matchup for anyone on this Cavs team up against this Wizards team. Alex Sarr is going to be his main defender, and that rookie has been getting feasted on this season. Heaps of centers have been destroying their lines against the Washington Wizards. But why do I like Jared Allen? Firstly, he scores in the pick and roll, scores in the restricted area. Your typical old school big man, right? And this Washington Wizards team, absolutely terrible on the defensive side, but very bad at defending all the things that Jared Allen likes to do. Bottom 2 in the league in terms of defending that pick and roll. Bottom 5 in limiting points to the restricted area. They got the worst defensive rating in the league. They're bottom 7 in terms of points in the paint allowed. They also play with a whole lot of pace, which means there's going to be a ton of opportunities here. Now, if we look at Jared Allen, what he's done in very similar matchups, if we just look at the games where he's had an easy matchup in terms of the pick and roll, check that out. He's over in 7 out of 9 games, averaging 16.6 points per game. One of his better games of the season did come against the Washington Wizards towards the start of the year. He was 10 from 10 in that game, finished with 23 points. He was just dunking all over them, and I think he dunks all over them again. So very straightforward play there. Jared Allen over his points prop. I'm not going to spend too much time going through all these, given the volume of them. I want to get this video out to you guys. So that's the first look that I have. Next game is the 76ers versus the Hornets. I don't have a bet on this game. Part of the reason why is this Hornets playing very slow at the moment. Their pace is very slow, especially without LaMelo Ball. So I'm not a fan of the pace in this game. No one really has an excellent matchup, I would say. So I'm just staying away from it. And, stuff like Brandon Miller, usage rate's going to be high up against PG, who was his favorite player growing up. But yeah, still, the motivation might be there, but I'm not loving the lines that I'm seeing. I didn't mind Brandon Miller rebounds, but I didn't love it enough to bet on it. So jumping to the next one, it's the Milwaukee Bucks versus Detroit Pistons. I've got a couple of looks in this one. Firstly, I want to address the elephant in the room. You might have been expecting a bet here on Cade Cunningham or Jaden Ivey because I, checked Twitter a little bit earlier, just to see how many followers I have. But I also noticed tons of people betting on Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, probably the most popular bets on the day. And I get it. Most people are betting purely based on positional data. Guards have been feasting on the Milwaukee Bucks this season. I completely get it. Their defense sucks, but it's a type of guards that you got to look for. So today, I'm not betting on Cade Cunningham or Jaden Ivey. I'm actually taking Malik Beasley over his points prop, 13.5 points. Now, he's been killing it. 14 out of his last 20 games, he's gone over this line, averaging 16 points per game. Now, I know Cade Cunningham has been out for a lot of these games, so if you filter it, just the games with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey in the lineup, Malik Beasley unimpacted. Check the greens right here, baby. We're looking at 8 straight games he's gone over this line with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. He's averaging 20.8 points per game. It's absolutely fantastic. The matchup for him is delicious as well. Let's talk about it. Up against the Bucks, don't defend guards very well, but they're very poor at defending the perimeter. They're pretty good at limiting points in the paints at somewhat. Brook Lopez, Giannis in there, but they get torched on the perimeter. Malik Beasley scoring in the spot up. Pretty good matchup there. He also gets out in transition, coming off screens. I think Malik Beasley's going to be the forgotten man. The Bucks don't have a lot of great perimeter defenders, but the best ones they do have will be marking up on Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. Malik Beasley still seeing a ton of minutes with both of those guys in the lineup, close to 30 minutes per game. And with 30 minutes, I think that's more than enough time for him to get some points up. He did play the Milwaukee Bucks earlier this season. No Jaden Ivey in the lineup, but he scored 26 points, 8 from 16 from deep, 9 from 17 from the field. I'm not expecting him to do that type of damage, but at the same time, he's done very well with Ivey and Cade Cunningham there. He's their best perimeter shooter, and I expect him to shoot the lights out today on this Milwaukee Bucks team. My next pick is actually not in this game. I only had that one bet. Silly me. I thought I had a lot more. So Giannis, I think he eats again. He scored 59 points the last times he played Detroit. I didn't take the bet on it. There was no Dame in that game, but he's been doing everything as a late. But Giannis, his lines are super high at the moment. Actually, that's a lie. I do have another bet here. Brook Lopez, this is my guy, and I'm taking him for over 1.53 pointers in this game. Now, he's hit this in 11 out of 19 games this season. Not crazy. He was averaging 2.1 3-pointers made. But he made 5 3-pointers the last time he played the Pistons. And I get it. No Dame Lillard in the lineup. He probably saw a bit more usage. Well, he definitely did. He took 17 shots in that game, which is why I'm not taking his points prop. But his 3-pointers made prop, I do like that. As a late, he's been getting the shots up. 10 attempts in the game against the Wizards. He was 3 from 3 against the Heat, who don't allow too many 3-pointers. 3 from 7 against the Hornets. Now, he's got a pretty good matchup here against the Detroit Pistons, towards the bottom end of the league in terms of points allowed above the break. So if we look at how he's performed in teams that allow 3-pointers above the break, it does look a little bit better, 6 out of 11. But I'm really loving what we saw in that Detroit game. And what we're going to see here is Jalen Duren run a lot of drop coverage. Giannis, Dame, going to be attracting a whole lot of attention. And Brook Lopez, I think he's going to be left wide open. And if he's wide open, I think he's good enough to make 2 3-pointers in this game. I don't think the Pistons make adjustments from what they saw last time. I don't think they remember Brook Lopez hitting 5 3-pointers on him, because Giannis scored like 59 points. I think that's the bigger concern. Find a way to stop Giannis. I think Brook Lopez sees some open 3-pointers here. So I do like his over 1.5 3-pointers made. And we're jumping into the next game now. They're the two I have in that one. Pacers versus the Raptors. I didn't bet on this one. I have been in love with Scotty Barnes as a late, but partly that was because there was no Grady Dick in the lineup, and there's a chance that he plays. But if there's no Grady Dick, get straight on to Scotty Barnes. Pascal Siakam, there was a bit of interest there. I don't buy into this whole revenge game against his old team, but he has performed well against them. We can't deny that. But that Pacers team, there's too many people producing everything in that one. I couldn't tell you who goes off. I know Tyrese Halliburton under is probably going to be a popular play today if you look at home and away splits, but I wasn't too much of a fan of taking an under today, given there's so many opportunities on the board. Unders are the worst bets to bet. Not in terms of hit rates, it's just the experience. And part of me doing this is me wanting to have a good time, right? So I'm not betting any unders, not many anyway. But we're jumping to the next game. It's the Orlando Magic versus the New York Knicks. And I do love the play that I landed on this. So I've actually got two plays in this game. The very first one, we're looking at Jalen Brunson. I've got a very good hit rate betting on Jalen Brunson. When I know he's not going to score, I jump on his assists. When I don't think he's got the right matchup for assists, I'm all over his points. And he's up against the Orlando Magic today, one of the better defensive teams in the league. They've got a top 2 defensive rating this season. And I'm betting on Jalen Brunson's over in points here, 23.5, which seems low as hell for someone like Jalen Brunson. Even this season, he's scoring lower than he was last year, right? We've got Karl-Anthony Towns in the mix, Mikal Bridges as well. But he's still averaging 25 points per game. And he's up against the Orlando Magic team, which is an awful matchup for pretty much everyone on this Knicks team, except for Jalen Brunson. Karl-Anthony Towns probably going to have a hard time. OG, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Miles McBride, campaign off the bench. They all have a very difficult matchup here. This Magic team doesn't let people shoot it from deep. They don't let people score in the spot up. They've got some size to try to slow down Cat. Whereas with Jalen Brunson, I think they're just going to let him shoot today. I think he has a high volume game. And why do I think that? Because as good as the Orlando Magic are defensively, the one thing, or the two things that they're not very good at is defending the pick and roll ball handlers and free throws, right? You can see it on this graph. Everything else is red. But pick and roll ball handlers and free throws allowed, it's a good matchup. And that's exactly what Jalen Brunson does. He's a free throw merchant. He scores almost 6 free throws a game. That's 18% of his points. He scores 10 points a game in that pick and roll. And I think in the pick and roll, the Orlando Magic, they're not going to let him dish it off. They don't allow many assists, second fewest assists in the league. So Jalen Brunson, I think he takes a lot of shots today. I don't think his teammates find themselves wide open as much, and Jalen Brunson's going to be forced to cook. So I do like his over in points. I do lean to his under in assists as well, but can be a little bit sweaty given how well he's been passing that thing around. My other bet in this game, though, is on KCP. That's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's been killing it in his last 3 games, 24, 19, and 16. Yes, it was against the Bulls and the Nets. The Knicks, slightly better than both of those teams. But I'm taking his over in his 3-pointers made prop. So KCP is in this game purely to play defense and shoot 3-pointers. That's all he's going to do. And as of late, he's been shooting the 3 ball extremely well. I feel like catching this at a 1.5 is a great line. The matchup up against the Knicks here is pretty decent. The Knicks bottom 10 in the league in terms of 3-pointers allowed. If we look at the defense, the Knicks pretty poor at defending shooters in the corner. KCP shoots corner threes and he shoots above the break. Like he just lives out on the perimeter and he takes open 3-pointers. So I think you can find 2 3-pointers in this game, especially if he gets this type of volume. 10, 5, and 9 3-point attempts. Even if we just say 5 is the floor, if we look at games where he's attempted at least 5 3-point attempts, he's over this line in 9 out of 11 games, averaging 2.5 3-pointers made. So I do like this play here for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Over 1.5 3-pointers. Jumping into the next game, we do have the Utah Jazz versus the OKC Thunder. And if Isaiah Hartenstein's playing, we have to bet on him, right? This guy has been an absolute wagon this season. I don't think I've got a bet wrong on Isaiah Hartenstein in terms of a straight bet. Like, it's been fantastic. But what are we betting on Isaiah today? I'm taking his points and rebounds today. I think I caught him at 22.5, I believe. Isaiah Hartenstein. Actually, points and rebounds, I got him at 24.5. There are some 23.5s available. Odds aren't great. I took him at 24.5 points plus rebounds, and let's talk about it. Firstly, he's hit this in every single game this season. 5 out of 5, he's averaging 29 points and rebounds, right? And he's managed to do so against some difficult matchups, some easy, right? But he's up against the Utah Jazz today, and his matchup is excellent when it comes to scoring some points. The Jazz bottom 3 defensive rating. He scores a lot of his points in the paint. The Jazz bottom 10 in terms of points allowed in the paint. So the matchup to score here is very good here for Isaiah Hartenstein. If we just look at his rebound prop, it's at 11.5. He's hit this in 4 out of 5 games. The Jazz, top 10 in terms of rebounds allowed. They do have some size. John Collins, Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen. They got some size down there. They got some big boys, and they can rebound quite well. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's the only big boy on this roster right now, and I think he's going to get rebounds naturally. Do I think he covers 11.5? I think he's going to get close. I think he's good for 11 to 12. But his points prop, I do like that. I think the ceiling, 15 to 20 points here for Isaiah Hartenstein. But playing it safe, I'm going with the points and rebounds over 24.5 I took to get some better odds. In the past, that's burnt me, but I'm game enough for it today. I also like his points prop purely because SGA doesn't have a great matchup for scoring, and neither does Jalen Williams. I think they still score points, obviously. They're much better than a lot of the players on the Utah Jazz, but I think that just opens up more opportunities for Isaiah Hartenstein, who does indeed have a great matchup. So his points prop is probably the pivot I would take if you can't get his points and rebounds. That's the only bet that I have in that game, though. I wasn't keen on any of the Utah Jazz players. We got the Grizzlies versus the Mavs. Luka, second game back. I'm not really betting on anything on this game. There's a few game time decisions we're not clear on, so there's nothing I absolutely love in that one. But we head into the Spurs versus the Suns. Now, I think I've seen a lot of people betting on Kevin Durant here, a few people on Bradley Beal. I'm not betting on either of those. I don't like this trio of Booker, Durant, Beal. I don't know where the points are going to come from. Difficult for me anyway. But I've got two players that I'm betting on from the Spurs. The first one, we're looking at Wemby. I'm looking at a plus money play here, going back to the well, taking over his three-pointers made prop. Now, you can catch a 2.5 in a lot of places, but it's juiced to the max, and that doesn't seem like much fun to me. I'm taking his over 3.5 three-pointers made, meaning he needs to make 4 of those suckers. It's a plus money play. I think it was plus 150 by the time I took it, so I do like that. Wemby has a pretty decent matchup today. So not only is he in love with the three ball this season, the last time I took this bet was against the Lakers, and he didn't get there. And the matchup against the Lakers was difficult. They don't allow too many three-pointers. The Lakers top 11 in the league. But he's up against the Phoenix Suns today. And if we think about how they defend above the break three-pointers, not the best. Bottom 8 in the league. They also got Yusuf Nurkic, who's not as mobile as someone like an Anthony Davis. Victor Wembanyama is going to be dragging his big ass outside of the paint all day long. Now, Yusuf Nurkic, I don't know if he plays in this game, though, which, is probably a little bit of a risk. Actually, I take that back. He's not playing in this game. Mason Plumlee. But Mason Plumlee is another big guy, probably a bit more mobile than Yusuf Nurkic. But I think Victor Wembanyama still drags him out to deep waters here. I think he lets it fly from deep. So I do like his over and his three-pointers made prop. Why not? Let that thing fly, big boy. The other player that I do have is on Chris Paul. CP3 took his over 9.5 points, got close to plus money here. You can catch an 8.5, but that's pretty juiced. Didn't want to get any into that. I took it on Bet365 minus 105. Now, he's hit this in 13 out of his last 20 games this season. So he's been scoring the ball relatively well. He's up against his old team, well, one of his older teams, the Phoenix Suns, and he's got a fantastic matchup here. The Phoenix Suns, they don't defend the pick and roll ball handlers very well at all. They don't defend above the break three-pointers very well. Their defensive rating for the season is not that great. And Chris Paul, he's actually feasted in these types of matchups. If we look at the matchups that Chris Paul has had against the teams that don't defend the pick and roll very well, check it out. He's hit this in 5 straight games, 5 out of 6 on the season, averaging 11.5 points per game. So it's a pretty straightforward one there. I do like Chris Paul. I think he hit this in 2 out of 3 games against the Phoenix Suns last year, and that's when he was playing for the Golden State Warriors. He's getting more minutes, more opportunities now in the San Antonio Spurs team. I think the risk here for Chris Paul is if someone like Victor Wembanyama goes off, or a Harrison Barnes, or whoever it is, then Chris Paul will be happy to pass that thing around. But in terms of scoring the ball, I know it's probably not his priority, but his matchup is fantastic. Up against his old team, I think he scores some points today. So I do like that. Rockets versus the Kings, I've got nothing in this game. This Kings team, very similar to the Phoenix Suns, Miami Heat, Indiana Pacers, in the fact that they can get so much production from so many different people. It's not completely obvious to me where it's going to come from. So I try to stay away from them unless they've got some injuries. And very similar to the Houston Rockets, they can get a whole lot of stats from a whole lot of players. Unless there's a clear sign somebody's going to be doing something, I ain't going to touch it. So nothing on that game. But we do have the Warriors versus the Nuggets. Steph Curry's a game time decision, but it looks like he's going to play in this one. Same as Aaron Gordon. Draymond Green, he's a game time decision, though. He's unlikely to play. So I'm looking at 2 different players in this one. First one, looking at Nikola Jokic, and he's been a beast. Probably gets another MVP this year. I'm just looking at his rebounds today, though. I'm just taking him for over 12.5 rebounds, not mucking around with points, not mucking around with assists, just looking for Nikola Jokic to grab some rebounds. He's hit this in 8 out of 15 games on the season, averaging 13 rebounds per game. And he's got a fantastic matchup here up against the Golden State Warriors, who lack some size, and they're bottom 4 in the league in terms of rebounds allowed. So the matchup is fantastic here for Nikola Jokic. When he's played against teams that don't rebound very well, He's averaging 15.6 rebounds per game. The spread is only 4.5 points, so I don't think it'll be a blowout. And if it's close, the Joker's going to get some more game time. So I do like that. The Golden State Warriors, they're going to be playing a big out there who doesn't shoot, whether it's Kevon Looney, Trey Jackson-Davis. So I think Jokic is going to be in prime position to grab some boards, and I do like his rebounds here. If I look at how he's played against the Warriors last season, over this line in 3 out of 4 games, averaging 13 boards per game. So Nikola Jokic over his rebounds, a very straightforward play. Let's not overcomplicate it. And then we've got Steph Curry. Now, I'm betting on Steph Curry, and it's not for him to score some points. He's been pretty average at that this season, averaging 22 points per game. But I am taking his over 5.5 assists. I do like that. 10 out of 15 games on the season, averaging 6.3 assists per game. And this Denver Nuggets team, this season, defensively, they've been pretty bad. In terms of their defensive rating, the Nuggets, where are they sitting? Bottom 12 in the league, defensive rating. It is getting a little bit better as they get more players back in their lineup, but they're still giving up a ton of assists. They give up the second most assists in the league this season. If we look at point guards and how they performed against them as a late, you can see 9 out of the last 15 point guards have gone over. They've gone combined 20% over the lines that were set for them. And I think Steph Curry's got a great matchup here. One thing I like about this is when it comes to scoring the ball, Steph Curry's got a very difficult matchup here. This Denver team, very good at limiting points to pick and roll ball handlers. They're going to force Steph Curry to get that ball out of his hands. This Nuggets team, very soft in terms of points in the paint. They give up the 3rd most points in the paint allowed. And I think a lot of those points in the paint are going to come from Steph Curry passes, whether it be a Kuminga, whether it be an Andrew Wiggins, whether it be lobs to Trey Jackson-Davis. I think Steph Curry is well and truly good enough to dime up here. So I do like his over in assists. And then my very last play takes us to the last game. It's the Portland Trailblazers versus the Los Angeles Clippers. And I'm betting on Norman Powell to score over 20.5 points today. Now, if you just looked at his baseline stats for the season, he's hit this in 11 out of 16 games. He's been an absolute wagon, been very consistent. And Norm Powell, I do love his matchup here against Portland. Firstly, he scored 30 points in his last game against Portland, one of his better games this season. And in that particular game, 5 from 10 from deep, took 22 shots in that game. So he was getting real busy with it. And he's up against the Portland Trailblazers again, and his matchup is ideal. So Norm Powell, if you look at how he scores points in transition and in the spot up, that accounts to almost 50% of these buckets. This Portland Trailblazers team is terrible at defending both of those. So I think he continues to eat here. Pretty straightforward. I looked at the matchups for James Harden. Now, James Harden, his matchup is not ideal. It's not easy. It's not difficult. It's pretty much in the middle. Looked at Zubac as well, who's a key contributor in this team. Sometimes he's actually got a difficult matchup. The Portland Trailblazers don't allow too many points in the paint, which tells me Norm Powell's going to have to do a lot of scoring today. So I do like his over. I think 20.5 is a relatively low line. It's his second game back from injury. He looked fine in his first game back. Played only 25 minutes, but scored 28 points. He was really efficient, 17 shots. We should see an uplift in his minutes here. If we can get him close to 30 minutes against this Portland Trailblazers team, he can cook them. I think 20.5, it's a little bit too low. So I do like Norm Powell to score some points. So there's a wrap on today's video, gang. I think 11, maybe 12 bets. Who knows? I'm not counting them, but I'll track them all anyway, whatever I end up betting on. Reminders, if you're interested in VIP, it's pretty straightforward. Just check out the link in the video description below or sign up to the apps that I have in the video description. Sign up, make a $10 deposit, send me an email, and I'll get you hooked up into VIP. A lot of you guys have taken advantage of that offer, and I hope everyone continues to do so. Well, I do get a little bit of a referral fee from some of these apps, pay me a bit of cash, and all of that goes a long way in helping me do this full time, which is a big dream of mine. But look, if you made it this far in the video, I honestly do appreciate you. I hope your slips may be green today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.